Hello, I'm Lindsay Whitley, the Associate Superintendent for Communications and Community Engagement with Cumberland County Schools. Thank you so much for joining us for our Throwback Thursday edition of Cumberland Family Academy. Each week, we look forward to bringing you timely information and resources to help your child succeed in school and in life. Now, let's jump right into tonight's session, already in progress.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to share and actually get to, talk to parents. That's kind of one of the things that I love to do is share the information with parents too, because it's important that we reach into the community that way. Here's just kind of a quick look at the objectives. We're going to go over kind of the facts, some solutions, and some resources today, and then we'll go into the closing. And we'll start tonight's presentation just by looking at the facts associated specifically with post-secondary education. But actually, before we begin, I want to post this survey link. It is 2 quick little questions just to get some feedback from parents. I'd like to know kind of what you guys think the biggest, I guess you could say, kind of object that's kind of blocking maybe student success. So I'm going to post this, and then also the best way that you feel to communicate with you guys. And I'm just going to post this in the chat. So if you're viewing this later, hopefully you can go to the bit.ly and type in that \3N, it's capital WZTA2, and it will take you, and you can complete that survey as well. It is a Google form, so hopefully you guys can all access that. But it's just 2 quick little questions. Just kind of want to know how you feel, kind of what's, limiting students or helping them or blocking them kind of from achieving, and then the best way to communicate with you. And that's just a multiple choice question. All right. So let's take a look at some facts that honestly are kind of a little bit scary in some ways. But currently only 41% of young adults are completing post-secondary education. So that means they've graduated from high school, they're moving on to a college or university, and only 41% of those young adults are actually completing that post-secondary education, which means basically the majority of students that are entering college are leaving with no degrees, but they are being forced to pay back all of those student loans that they're borrowing. So maybe they're 2 years in, and then they're changing their minds, and they're still, going to be required to pay back those student loans. So lots of student debt. In fact, we've got 1.6 trillion. That is the amount of national student debt that's carried by 44 million Americans. That is a lot of money. College is definitely an expensive investment and something that all students should really do extensive research before diving into it. Here's another interesting fact. The percent of students who graduate from a 4-year college is happening in 6 years at 63%. But of those 63%, only 43% of those students that graduate still end up underemployed. So again, some staggering facts. We're sending our students off to get these post-secondary degrees, and it's taking them a lot longer to complete those degrees, which again is costing a lot more money. And then only 43% of them are, 43% are leaving their post-secondary with their degree, and they still are underemployed. So really, after a decade of sharing this college for all mantra, we have to ask ourselves, are we really truly building systems that give all students the tools they need to graduate college and career ready? And if we look at those staggering statistics, I would have to say that we definitely need to make some changes. So taking a look at kind of what Cumberland County Schools is doing to combat some of these things and develop some solutions to hopefully improve those statistics and keep our students in college. We've got a couple things that we're going to talk about. One, the first being is our career development. The second is going to be MajorClarity, which is a platform that all of our secondary education students have access to. And then we'll touch on pathways and also college and career promise. These are some of our solutions. So currently in the US, many youth do not experience impactful career development. Cumberland County Schools is working hard to develop a well-planned career development program that encourages students. We are actually going to be beginning in the 5th grade, where students will start to identify their personal interests and aptitudes while exploring multiple career options. And we are actually going to start in January, tapping into those 5th grade students and giving them access to a similar platform, MajorClarity, but they have an elementary version that allows those students to explore the 16 different career clusters, learn about different careers under each of those career clusters. And then we also do events across the county where students are, participating in career days and other things, just to expose them to a variety of careers, because we really want students to kind of find what they're interested in at a young age so that we can provide them all the resources they need to be successful. As they continue on to middle school, they work on narrowing down their interests and choosing a pathway, and then aligning their academic plans to meet their career goals. So we are using, again, MajorClarity with our middle school students to help develop their academic plans. And what they can do in this platform, I'm saying platform, it's really just a website that they have access to that syncs with their school Gmail account. And I'll show you guys all how to access that. But what they can do there is they can create an academic plan. They can see what pathways are offered at the high school level, and they can then align their classes that they plan to take in high school with those pathways, and hopefully set them kind of up for success in a career, and then map out some post-secondary exploration as well. We also have a Students at Work program. We partner with the North Carolina Business and Education Center in March. And that takes place in March, and every March we look for kind of participating local businesses to kind of open their doors. And sometimes we do this virtually. We've taken students on field trips in the past just to expose them to a variety of careers also, because again, we just want students to learn about, what's here, what exists in our area. And also, like I said, we can tap in virtually and we can show them careers really across the US. And you'll see too, in our MajorClarity platform, they have access to explore over 65 different pathways. As they enter high school, they now have resources to make informed post-secondary choices. So career development will really help our students to make better college choices that align to their personal interests. And research shows that when individuals enjoy their career, they'll naturally perform better and typically earn more money. And that's our goal. We want students to really find what they're interested in at a young age, pursue those pathways, and then find what career is really going to highlight and bring out their natural abilities and make them successful. They always say you never work a day in your life if you enjoy your job. So we want our students to all find what they really enjoy so that they can pursue those careers and make sure that they're aligning their post-secondary choices to match their career choices. So as I mentioned before, we have a platform called MajorClarity to assist all students. Like I said, we're going to start bringing that down into the 5th grade. Currently, all of our 6th through 12th grade students have access to this and have been working in MajorClarity this school year. It provides students the ability to test drive careers, which I think is probably one of the best features. If you have students right now that say that they want to, be a nurse, they can go in and they can test drive that field and do an actual simulated activity to kind of give them an idea of what that career looks like. And I think that is very valuable because I know personally, I had no idea in high school what I wanted to do. And if I could go in and just kind of test drive a couple different careers, I think I would have been a lot more successful in choosing my major, because I bounced around quite a bit my college years. And I'm almost part of that statistic because it took me 5 years to complete my degree instead of the typical 4 bachelor's degree. And then ideally, MajorClarity is going to help our students connect their goals to academic and post-secondary planning. And I'm going to share just a quick little preview of what this looks like in this short video clip, just to give you an example. So let me see. Hopefully everybody can hear. I tested
MajorClarity is helping thousands
of
schools across the country ensure that every student's education leads to a successful career outcome, whether that's through a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, or going straight into the workforce. We do this through an all-in-one career and college readiness and academic planning platform that solves for the needs of both counseling and CTE. After students take a brief personality assessment, they can interactively explore career paths. First, by watching Q&A videos with industry professionals through bite-sized video segments that are used to maximize student engagement. Next, students can try out an activity that shows them what the day in the life of that career path is actually like through an interactive and engaging manner. This is essential to student impact and student outcomes because students only retain 10% of what they read. But active learning helps drive long-term comprehension and retention. Lastly, students can explore individual occupational listings that show localized data on job presence and availability, wage and salary information, job growth, and the necessary skills, abilities, and knowledge needed to succeed in that career. We directly integrate students' career exploration into the academic and course planning process and use it to help students drive a career-aligned academic and course plan. In fact, our contents even increase the likelihood of students selecting a career-aligned plan of study by 189%. Students can use our seamless course planning tools to keep them on track throughout all of middle school and high school and track graduation requirements. Students can explore colleges across 4-year, 2-year, and even technical and certificate programs, and search through our $7 billion worth of financial aid and scholarships. And track all of their college application processes through our college application tracker, including requesting transcripts or letter of recommendations, which we fulfill through partnerships with companies like Parchment and the Common App. On the career preparation and work-based learning side, we help students build resumes and cover letters. We offer them a one-stop shop work-based learning portal to see all of their local work-based learning partner profiles and all of the opportunities available to them, ranging from internships to job shadows to much more. And we help them qualify for these opportunities through our proprietary and exclusive competency-based microcredentials, which are built within both career paths and for general fields like general employability and soft skills, which is aligned to the CCS SEL model and built with the National Technical Honor Society. Once students complete these microcredentials, they earn a certificate that says they earned a competency-based microcredential in that field and helps pre-qualify them for these opportunities and helps them stand out in the eyes of colleges and employers. Lastly, we help districts automate their requirements around statewide individual learning plans or academic and career plans and other CCR compliance elements through PDF reports on everything a student is doing that can be easily shared with parents and guardians, counselors, and the student. And they can use this to digitally sign and electronically review their plan. On the back end, we offer our partners tools around caseload management, messaging, and communications for both parents and guardians and students, student surveys, data and analytics, and custom reporting, resources, curriculum, lesson plans, and other guides, and family and parent engagement tools.
One of the things we're doing, we're using it to create our academic career plans as required by the state. We're also using it to afford opportunities to our students. If I get a call from a business that is having a workshop, or they're looking for interns, or they're looking for job shadowing or anything like that, I can use MajorClarity to filter students that are interested in that career field.
For Hamilton County, our goal is that we're able to connect students to careers So ultimate end goal, our internship program goes back to our programs of study, which goes back to MajorClarity.
I want our school division to be a model for how MajorClarity can help an urban public school. Because some of the challenges presented to us are making sure we meet the basic needs of students, making sure that our kids are graduating, making sure our kids are in attendance. MajorClarity is going to be a major part of that.
When I've had one-on-one with students and walked them through the process and showed them the interviews and showed them the activity and explained to them the intent of it, they're like, oh, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. And then I'll check, and that student has gone into it 3-4 more times after I showed them.
Because it's something tangible. It's not just like we're learning at this conference, not just checking one thing off the box, but actually something tangible where our students and our parents can see this is a pathway, this is a plan for me, this is what I want for my life, this is how I want to make a difference in the world. To have something like this in place, and again, to see that fire in them, knowing that moving forward, they have options, they have opportunities, and that we have actually helped them get there. The one word I would use to describe MajorClarity is inspiring.
If it can be a compound word, life-changing.
Innovative.
All right, so hopefully that gives you kind of a quick little taste of what MajorClarity is and kind of looks like for our students. If you heard a couple of the people even mention pathways in that preview of MajorClarity, which I'll show you what those look like here in a minute. But career pathways are designed to create partnerships between industry, education, and community leadership. And in 2011, a study conducted by Harvard University noticed that when we have a university for all mentality, we are hindering students from finding a more individualized education plan that promotes a student's unique strengths. Instead, we need to start transitioning to a different approach that shares multiple pathways for students for their success. And here's kind of what career pathways look like in Cumberland County schools. So the majority, all our pathways are pretty much starting at that 9th grade level. And the main goal behind each pathway is to lead students to productive opportunities in high school and beyond through a focused program of study. So again, kind of finding that interest and then leading the students down that pathway and giving them all the resources they need to be successful. Pathways help connect secondary and post-secondary education, helping students achieve industry recognized credentials, certificates, associate degrees, and beyond. So a lot of our pathway options connect to those post-secondary, which we'll talk in just a minute about those career and college promises for students, but they can also be earning, those industry credentials, which they can be basically, graduating from high school and walking right into the workforce with some of those industry credentials. And ultimately, pathways are just helping to bridge the gaps between education and the workforce by aligning systems to support those students. And then the other important piece I really want to share with parents, because I feel like not enough people know about this, or at least taking advantage of this opportunity. We have the Career and College Promise. These are basically, they provide our high school juniors and seniors the option to take free college classes while they're in high school. So again, it's only for our junior and senior students. There are a few criteria, which I'll show you kind of in that more information link. But essentially, these educational opportunities help to accelerate the completion of college certificates, diplomas, and associate's degrees, and they can lead to college transfer. So even if you have a student that is really got their heart set on, a 4-year university, they can take some of these classes in high school just to kind of accelerate that college program. So maybe now they are only in college for 2 years, again, thinking about student loan debt and things like that, some of those statistics, they've knocked out some of those core classes while in high school for free. And now they are just going into their post-secondary education and they, completing that degree in half the time. And there are two ways an eligible high school student can enroll at FTCC. So this is associated with our Fayetteville Technical Community College. There's the college transfer pathway, which is basically where students are just completing and choosing those high school to accelerate the time spent outside. So they're basically, you know, going to the college just to stay on that kind of college pathway and just complete some of those classes in high school. Then there's also the career and technical education pathway. And that's more industry aligned so that a student is maybe interested in a particular industry, maybe like automotive. So they're actually going and completing those classes and earning those certificates to walk into that workforce. And what I want to show you here are two links. So the first link here at the top is directly to the FTCC academics. So I'm going to post this too in the chat while I have a chance real quick. So you guys now have that link. So if you're interested in just learning more about the high school connections, there is the link for that information. And this just goes over real quick kind of what exactly it is and how to print student class schedules. And here is also the application as well. So it is, again, connected to our Fayetteville Technical Community College, but a great option for all of our students. Gives them the ability to really test drive something too before they're, you know, paying for it, test out and try out some of those classes. Again, it's a lot easier to be in high school. Think you're on that career path. For instance, my coworker talks about this all the time. She was so set on being a nurse until she realized that she really didn't like dealing with things like blood and stuff like that comes with the nursing field. And she just was kind of devastated and didn't know what to do because that was her whole plan. Had she done some work-based learning or possibly gone through some of these local community college classes that give you some of those experiences, she maybe would have been able to kind of find another pathway before she entered her post-secondary. So she could have been doing those things in high school and not outside of high school. And then here's just, again, more information on our Cumberland County Schools website for that career and college promise. It talks about exactly what a student has to have to be eligible for enrollment. So again, they have to be a high school junior and senior. They do have to have a cumulative unweighted GPA of 2.8. So that is kind of one big criteria. And then demonstrate college readiness on assessment or placement tests. So there are those two things to be eligible, and then maintain eligibility. They have to continue to make progress toward their high school graduation and maintain a 2.0 GPA in their college coursework after completing 2 courses. And then just a little bit more information. And then at the bottom, there's also the High School Connections website, which takes you again to FTCC, but you can see here all of the programs and certificate programs that they offer. So they've got a whole thing on 3D animation. They've got all of these side things here as far as AC heating and refrigeration, civil engineering. They've got a whole computer integrated, computer technologies, criminal justice, electronics engineer, emergency management, fire protection, green sustainable architecture, health and fitness science, healthcare customer service, horticulture. So a lot of programs that students can be taking those classes in high school, earning those credits, or at least testing them out, seeing if they're really invested in that. I know that's kind of one thing I like to do, right? Again, test drive those careers and things out before you are 100% committed and paying thousands of dollars in student loans. All right, and then we're going to get into our resources, which is where I want to spend the majority of the time talking about some things that you guys have access to, and I really highlight our platform, MajorClarity. I'm going to finish with that, but I want to start with NC Careers, which is a great website. And again, I will post this here in the chat, that has some really good resources for parents and students, but something that if you're aware of, then you can share these links and resources with your students. And this is easy to remember. It's just nccareers.org. And they have some really great activities. So this is kind of their main landing page, and you'll see at the top, you can see where it says find my interest, explore occupations, plan my career, education and training, job search. So these are all options, but I want to highlight some of the activities. The reality check is a great activity to do with your child, and it's kind of fun. So what it does is it talks about housing, it talks about transportation, lifestyle expenses, and then other expenses. And what the students do, it's kind of a little simulation, but they can go through, and it's going to kind of ask them what kind of house would they like to own? What kind of vehicle would they like? Do they need a vehicle, or would they rather take the bus to get to work and to their basic necessities? What's their lifestyle? Are they going to be a thrifty shopper, or do they have really expensive taste? So it's going to kind of walk them through what they are intending for their lifestyle to be, and show them what the expenses associated with those lifestyles are. So they'll see that, okay, well, if you are not going to be, a thrifty shopper, you're going to need to be making about $50,000, $50,000 to $65,000 a year to live comfortably. And it goes through those expenses with the students. So I highly recommend going in and kind of completing that reality check. It's a great activity to kind of walk your child through. And then jumping back, there are a couple other things. There's the explore occupations. You can just learn more information about just general kind of their median annual range. And this is all directed towards our North Carolina. You can even see kind of the ratings, the star ratings for some of these, what the education requirements are. So lots of great information here about exploring careers. And then again, just learning more about education and training. They've got links to the College Foundation here, developing a college plan, searching for those colleges. But I'm going to show you our tool that we use with our students in school. Also learn about the free application for federal student aid. This is super big. If we're planning to college, everybody should be completing the FAFSA. And the reason why, because if you have a student that's looking for a scholarship, a lot of the scholarships will say that they can't apply until they've completed the FAFSA. So definitely everybody should complete this, even if you feel like you're not going to qualify for any of the resources or the aid. Still complete it, because you need it a lot of times just to apply for other things like scholarships related to college. So complete that. I know we have a couple workshops throughout the county that are coming up, particularly on that FAFSA. And then there's even start a college savings plan and find ways to plan and pay for college. So lots of really great resources located here on nccareers.org. Just want to share this with you and make sure that you're aware of those resources. So jumping back in, I also want to really highlight the Cumberland County Schools course selection guide. And this is located, if you go to, let me see, it's under our secondary curriculum and instruction. So it's under our departments at the top. And then you will find, where is the secondary? Should be under here. I'm looking for it. It should be under the secondary curriculums and instruction. But here you'll find our 2021-2022 high school course selection guide. And if you click this link, it will take you to a PDF document. And this should be any student, especially our 8th grade students that are starting to plan out their high school schedules. This really needs to have a good fine tooth comb kind of look through and understand things like graduation requirements, how many classes they need to take, what the credits are for each of those classes. You'll also see some other options. So these are the graduation requirements for our Exceptional Children's Program. There's a registration worksheet in here, so you can kind of do a little pre-registration with the students, or your child or son or daughter. You can go over that. There's also a graduation requirement checklist another great resource, making sure that your students are staying on track and completing the classes that they need for their graduation requirements. And I want to jump to each of our different kind of like career pathways here. So these are like essentially some of the pathways that we're offering, and they show the students kind of what middle school classes align with agriculture, food, and natural science resource career cluster. So if we have a student that is interested kind of in this agriculture, food, and natural resources, they can come to that course selection guide, and then they can see what classes that are recommended at the middle grade level. And then it's kind of as if this is like a line right here if you folded it in half. So kind of just looking at this top section, they can see prerequisites that they can take. And then they can also see these supplemental career employability skills course, supplemental technical courses. And these are typically ones that are aligning with our FTCC classes. So those college and career promise classes. And this just gives the students an idea of what they should be taking if they're interested in this particular pathway. And if you scroll down, there is quite a bit of different pathways that we offer in Cumberland County Schools. And we are a school of choice, which means that our students do have the option to go to another school if they're interested in one of the pathways that's offered at another school. And that pathway fair, I believe, or the choice fair, is coming up in December. I think it's the first Saturday in December. So I highly recommend checking out the choice fair just to learn more about the pathways that we offer for every student to be a part of. But you can see that this just gives you an idea, and it talks about those high school connections. So these are those classes here that students can take and be earning those college credits for, and really getting a taste for what this particular pathway is about. So healthcare professional career pathway, they can actually be earning those college credits while they're in there completing this. And it shows exactly what classes that they can be taking to be a part of this pathway. So I'm going to jump back to our other resource, MajorClarity. So the first one that we went over was that NC Careers. Love doing the reality check. It's a great resource for you. The course selection guide, that is got so much good information directly aligned to Cumberland County Schools and our pathways. And then lastly, I want to share MajorClarity with you guys. This is a great resource for all students to be a part of. And parents, you can sign in right now with your student's account. So all of the students have access, and what they do is they just sign in with Google. So they never have to type in their email or password. They just have to click the continue with Google button to access it. So if you want to access your student's account, what you can do is you can just click that as long as your student is signed into their Gmail account. So if you're using maybe their Chromebook to sign in, or you can have them kind of sign in for you, and you can view their academic and career plans and all of this information associated to their MajorClarity account. So every year in MajorClarity, the students have different tasks that they are supposed to be completing based on the grade level that they're in. So for instance, exploring scholarships, that's something that we have kind of our 10th, 11th, 12th grade students doing. We don't really have our middle school students exploring scholarships because not too applicable for them. They can still go in and view them, but that's not one of the required tasks that they need to complete. Our goal is, as a district, that our students every year are going in and getting 100% completion here. And that's really just, we're trying to assign them those specific tasks and keep them on track with their college and career planning. And if they're not sure of a task, they can always hover over that eye, and it tells them exactly where they need to go and what they need to complete. And they can even click right here, and it will take them specifically to that section within MajorClarity to complete those tasks. So as a parent, I recommend going in and checking their progress in MajorClarity and seeing kind of where they stand. Hopefully most of our students are around 43% done with their activities. What typically happens in MajorClarity is our students come in and they complete a personality and learning styles assessment. And the personality assessment is based off of the Holland codes, kind of identifying those 6 different personality types. And as they go through and answer these questions, what it does is it gives them percentages of different personalities. I'm just going to jump through this really quick to show you what those look like. So after they're done and they've completed that first assessment, then they will get the different personality types. So it looks like I'm leaning on right now based off those results towards enterprising. I can click that I and it's going to tell me exactly about what it means to be an enterprising person. So that would be a persuader. I like to work with people, influence them, leading or managing organizational goals or economic gain. So I can learn a little bit more. I would excel in leadership, business, politics, public speaking, and salesmanship. So it gives me an idea of what my personality is like. Over here, we've got the learning styles assessment. It's a little bit shorter, but the students complete those questions, and then they again get to learn about what type of learner they are. So kinesthetic people learn best by experience, doing, self-involvement. So it gives the students an idea of how they learn best based off of their questions. What then happens for the students is we take this data and it gets applied to this career exploration. And based off those 2 assessments, the students then get paired with different career paths that align to that data. So it's recommending that one of my high fit scores would be educational administration, followed by banking services, and then entrepreneurship. And then as I scroll down, I can see some other careers pathways that I'm also aligned with or are good fits for me. And you can see the further down you go, the lower those scores typically are. And under each of these different career pathways, this is where at the middle school level, our students are really getting some great exploration, because what's happening is they can watch an interview. So, right, how many times do we want to know what does it really mean to be an educational administration? What do they do? Why would somebody choose this career? So they can watch a quick little segment and learn about this particular career from an actual professional in this industry. At the end of each of these, they can even score their fit. So maybe they go through, they listen to that video and they're like, no, that's not for me. They can rate it and submit that data. And now what's going to happen is back on their career exploration tab, it's going to kind of start to take that feedback from the student and how they're rating things and say, okay, you don't like that career? Here's some other careers that maybe would align better with your interests. They can also then do an activity. And to me, this is super beneficial to know that your student can actually test drive a career. So when you're talking to careers with your students, we need them to be like, hey, do you really want to do that? Let's try out this activity. Make sure you're really interested in this activity. And these are all everyone is different and particular to that specific career path. So I think there's like 65 different career paths. So there's 65 different career simulations throughout here that the students can all engage in and be a part of. And again, at the end of each of these activities, they can then score their fit. Okay, I went through that activity and I did not like that at all. Or it was great, I really enjoyed doing that. Like, I want more. So it's a great way to kind of navigate and for students to really explore and expose themselves to a variety of careers. Because I bet if you ask your children tonight how many careers they can name, the list is probably less than 10. And there's over 65 career paths, but there's even more occupations listed under each of these different career paths. So for instance, biotechnology, I can then see that there's 25 occupations that fall under that specific career path. Anything from nuclear medicine technologist, or a biostatistician, or a medical scientist. Let's see, except I'm going to say I'm getting cut off. Biomass power plant managers, right? So all of these fall under that biotechnology career pathway. And again, they can watch an interview and start an activity. Now, here's some great tools. I know I'm not really looking forward to getting a doctorate or professional's degree, and I really don't want to get my master's degree either. Well, I can filter out, and now I know, okay, these are the occupations that require that bachelor's degree. Maybe I just want to see if I can get an associate's degree. Notice quite a few of those disappeared, but I can still be a biomass plant technician. And let's see, they make about $56,000 on average in the state of North Carolina. And they only require that high school diploma or equivalent. They don't require any work experience. So this gives the students kind of a little overview of exactly what that particular occupation looks like, what their abilities that they would need to know, as well as their knowledge. And then it will also list any other related careers if there are related careers. Obviously, this one does not have any in particular to list there. So again, just exposing those students to careers and giving them the ability to explore and learn about it. As they get into 8th grade, we really want them to kind of focus in on a career path. All right, I've done exploration. I've done a little bit of exploring in 5th grade. I've done a lot of exploring in 6th grade. And then in 7th grade, I've done even more exploring. So now I'm in 8th grade, and typically beginning in January, we start our 8th graders on that scheduling path, right? We got to have them start figuring out what classes do you want to take in high school. And this is where it gets tricky, because typically you've got to almost plan out your 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in many cases, because if you to stay on track and meet those graduation requirements, it's really helpful to kind of plan out those 4 years instead of just looking at 1 year. And a lot of times we have students that are, you know, in their junior, senior year, they finally kind of find something that they're interested in. And it's like, wow, I didn't even know that we offered classes, or I didn't even know that I could go to Fayetteville Technical Community College and be earning college credits for free in high school in that specific career pathway. So we really want to expose students to the variety of things that we have happening and the classes and pathways that we offer. So what this looks like, I backed up because I want to show you what from the student who hasn't selected a pathway yet. So when our students are in 8th grade, they can change which school that they are seeing those pathways for. So they can choose which high school they plan to attend. So again, if they're going to a school of choice, or maybe, for instance, some of those, let's see, like the early college, they can select that class. And you'll notice when I click that, some of those pathways are going to be different versus what's offered at another high school. So like Massey Hill should have a little bit different pathways versus what's offered maybe at like Jack Britt High School or Terry Sanford High School. So those pathways will definitely change according to the high school selected. And we're actively working on making sure that this is currently updated for the new school, this school year coming up for those academic changes. So some of these might be adjusted here in the next few weeks. But then the students kind of learn about what particular career cluster they fall under. So again, if they're going through and doing that career exploration and learning about these different career, they know that they're interested maybe in that STEM career cluster, science, technology, engineering, and math, and they can look for some of the pathways that fall under those specific career clusters. It looks like there's another one here, drafting and engineering. So maybe that's the pathway I'm interested in. I'm going to select that as my pathway. Then what I can do is I can plan out kind of what math. And so here the students click on that little plus sign, and it's going to pre-populate some of the generic 9th grade math classes that most students can take. But obviously, sometimes we have students that are going to be taking some of those honors classes, or maybe they're ahead in, in math, so they're a year ahead or something. They can always search to add some of those additional classes, or as they get into those junior, senior years, take some of those FTCC courses. They're also in here as well. And then they can go through and kind of map out, what classes that they are planning to take. for each of these different core subject areas. And then as they get down to their pathway electives, when they select a pathway, now they're going to see the classes that align particularly to that pathway, so that they are getting the exposure to these classes early on, starting in, their 9th, 10th grade years, so that they're directly, following that pathway and getting that exposure as soon as possible. There's also kind of a graduation tracker here that helps them, stay on task with making sure that they're completing those graduation requirements. So that's just a quick look kind of at that academic and career plan. And it's something that we are currently working with all of our 8th grade students on completing this in school. But I want you as parents to know to go in, check this out, see what your students are planning. I know the counselors will definitely be meeting with them kind of on a more individual base to go over and map out this and make sure that students are selecting those classes according. But the biggest problem we have is we don't want students just going in a class, because they want to be with their friends, or going in a class because, it's just, that's what they got on their schedule. We really want students to be intentional and say, no, I really have a passion for this. This is what I'm interested in. This is why I want to be in that class, because they want to learn about those aligned pathway courses. Now, as far as our post-secondary exploration, there's a great tool in here where students can search and even compare colleges. So there's a comparison tool, which this will only appear once they've starred multiple schools. So to do that, they just have to click that little star, and any schools that they star, they can then compare on this comparison tool. And it just gives you a quick little overview, and it gives you some great information here. So you can kind of see the admission rate, the undergraduation side, some of the better things, the typical debt. What does that typical loan payment look like? What's your salary like after attending and receiving that degree? So a lot of great helpful information. And again, any of the schools that you star pop up on this comparison tool. You can filter out schools. So currently I'm only seeing schools in the state of North Carolina, but I can obviously change that. I can look for specific types of schools or even specific programs. So again, I've done a lot of those assessments. I've done a lot of career exploration, and I know I'm really interested in schools in biology and biomedical sciences. I want to see what schools offer that program. Okay, so here now notice I only have like 3 options here at the bottom, and I can get rid of that filter by clicking that X, and now you'll notice now there's a lot more colleges and university options for me to search through there. I can even look by size, ACT and SAT scores, athletics. I can search for a particular athletic, distance only, and then you can always filter it out by your favorites as the students are building those favorite lists. So a great tool to look at. Each of these schools as well, you can click on and you can visit that particular website, calculate your cost. Here's another great idea. We have had students that come and they're so set on going to a particular school, and then you ask them, well, what do you want to do? And then they tell you, and you look at the school that they're going to, and it doesn't even offer that program. So sometimes there's a disconnect there, and this gives kind of the students an idea. Okay, look, if you want to go to Duke University, the majority of the students graduating there are getting social sciences, and then followed by engineering and biological and biomedical sciences. So these are kind of the top programs graduating there. You can see those admission rates, what you need for the ACT, SAT scores. And then again, that cost, debt, and salary information from each school. So a really great tool that's here for all of our students that we are using actively with them to complete different tasks throughout the school year. There's also the financial resources. So lots of scholarship information. We put in local scholarships here as well. Students are welcome to filter this out. They can search for different types of scholarships. There's even, contests that they can look for, search by GPA. Definitely recommend every student. There's over 23,000 scholarships in here, and So many of these scholarships don't even have very few applicants because people are just not aware of scholarships out there or what, that they are actually eligible to apply for. So this is a great tool for students to go in, learn a little bit more. Each of these scholarships they can click on and get a little bit more information about exactly the criteria, the amounts. Some of them will have a lot more detailed information. Some of them will have, this one doesn't have as much. And then there's a link here also to apply for that particular scholarship. There's a resume builder, which we're asking all of our 10th grade students to really get started building a resume, right? Because they can get some work experience in. And just the concept of what is a resume. The nice thing about this is it's going to prompt the students for the specific information that they need to import. And you'll see as they add their school, it's going to give them those boxes. When they're all done putting in all of this information, it will actually pop up here and it will, they can download a PDF version of their resume and it puts it in the resume format for the student. So if they fill out all of the boxes completely, it will put the information in that format for them. So a great tool to kind of show the students exactly what a resume should look like, and something, again, that all of our students and teachers are using with them. Last thing, because I know I'm getting close on our time here, I do want to show you where students can actually be keeping track of their admission and their application process throughout MajorClarity. So what they can do is anytime they want to go to a specific college or university, they can add that institution to their starred one. So if they've gone in and starred kind of their favorite, they can add that and they can even rank it. They can select kind of the type of application and the status that they're, that maybe they've started this, and then they can check off the boxes of the things that they have completed. Just to keep track of that and add it to their tracker when the target deadline is. And then once they add it, it will kind of populate here on this screen, and they can even go back and look at what they have, the required completion materials. By clicking on that tab there, they can see, okay, yeah, I've done this part. Oh no, I haven't submitted my test scores. I still need to do that. They can see if they've started or canceled those applications. Again, talking about financial aid, it's going to direct those students to complete that FAFSA form. So if you have a senior, make sure that they are completing that. Okay, I will kind of stop here. One more thing I do want to share, I'm sorry, because it's important. These micro-credentials are awesome resources for our students. Again, talk about getting a certificate in a specific degree. MajorClarity aligns these with the actual industry. So you'll see this is the HVAC certificate is in collaboration with Train Technologies. And they've actually gone to these companies and said, hey, what do students need basically to know if you wanted to hire them right out of high school? And so they created these module-based courses. They are about three. Let me see if I have another one that I've started. They can be about 3 to 4 hours in length. I think I have this employability skills one. Yeah. And so they look typically like this. This is a great one for every student to partake in, this employability skills. It talks about things like growth mindset, so dressing for success, workplace conduct, social media do's and don'ts, which I think are all great things that a student should really know before they're entering the workforce. So this is a great tool for students to go through, and they can complete this at any time, anywhere. This one I think is 2 to 3 hours, but at the very end, after they go through all the modules, which are based to be very interactive and keep the students engaged. It's not just reading context. There are activities and things that they do throughout them. They do a final exam, and if they get an 80% or higher on that final exam, then they earn a actual micro credential, and they'll get a certificate that they can print out, and that certificate has a QR code on there that they can share with workplaces, kind of showing them, and it explains what that certificate is and what the skills that they have demonstrated basically with that certificate. So lots of really great things happening here in MajorClarity, just to give our students really these career and academic plans and lead and guide them into good decision making, so that when they get to their post-secondary choices that they are making, that they're finding something, early on that they like and pursuing that, and not going in undecided and jumping around from major to major, and ending up with lots of student debt, and then realizing, oh wait, I just got a degree in a career that basically doesn't have any job growth. So again, back in MajorClarity, they can look at the job growth and the job outlook for those careers. Make sure we pick something that's going to grow and not disappear in a couple of years. It is 7 o'clock. I'm going to, I guess, stop sharing and see if you guys have any particular questions. You can put them in the chat also. In two-part series. I know it is a lot of information. I agree 100%. I like that idea of a two-part series. Thank you.
Wow, that was a great session. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for our Throwback Thursday Cumberland Family Academy session. Each week, we look forward to bringing you information and resources. So if you enjoyed watching tonight's session, be sure to visit our website at www.familyacademy.ccs.k12.nc.us. There, you will find additional sessions and information and even resources to help you help your child in school and in life. Thank you again for joining us.